We asked our All Ears Facebook community, what's the best meal you've had in Disney World?
So when we're talking about the best meals in Disney, this location, it doesn't come as a surprise to me that this is one of the locations that our readers suggested, and it is Le Cellier. Le Cellier is a spot in Epcot in the Canada Pavilion. It is kind of like the fancy steakhouse of Epcot. And if you're big on Disney dining, you've probably heard of this place. One of our readers, John, they said, Le Cellier, seriously, one of the best steaks and best meals I have ever had. Pretty high praise. Suzanne also agreed, saying the steak was amazing. And Suzanne also said that the prices were reasonable. What do you guys think about that?
For a table service restaurant signature dining experience, I mean, maybe.
What does Suzanne do that she thinks that Le Cellier is like, these are reasonable?
I mean, I get, like, for a really fancy steak, I'm, like, looking at the prices. It's $4 signs on Google, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
4 of them. $4 signs. I mean, it's not, never mind. It's a little
$60?
scary. Yeah, it's like 60. It's like a $62 filet mignon, but it's a AAA Canadian tenderloin, which I can
But the steamed Asian Impossible dumplings are $34. Half price if you're a plant-based eater.
The steakhouses that I've been to outside of Disney, I feel like some of them have prices that kind of reach that point. So if you also factor in the upcharge that you get at Disney, maybe this is reasonable.
It's definitely not the most unreasonable. Like, I paid $70 to go to Be Our Guest and eat really mediocre food in the Beauty and the Beast dining room just a few weeks ago. Like, this is widely considered a very good steakhouse, although I have heard things about it being inconsistent. Have you guys heard that? I've heard that it can be inconsistent.
It was absolutely rated one of the worst restaurants in Epcot by All Ears readers at one point.
Yeah.
That may have changed now, but it was definitely at the bottom where table service restaurants are concerned.
Well, and I think people are going to judge it more harshly because of the prices. Like, if you're going to charge that much, then you need to have really good food, and it needs to be good pretty much every time that you go. Like, obviously, like, sometimes there's like flukes things going on, but if sometimes you get good food and sometimes you get bad food and they're charging $4 sign prices.
I've actually never eaten at Le Cellier. It's on my list, but I'm scared to eat there because I don't want to. First of all, I'm ordering the filet mignon. No one's stopping me.
Yeah, obviously.
I don't care if it's not the right decision. I'm not going to not order the filet mignon. And then I'm probably going to be there with Breedlove, and he's going to get the steamed Asian Impossible dumplings, so it's the only option for him. And then I'm probably going to be jealous of his food because that's what always happens.
And the Brussels sprouts, which everybody loves, not just plant-based eaters.
Well, they're maple whiskey glazed Brussels sprouts, which sounds unbelievable.
That does sound amazing. That would get me to eat Brussels sprouts. And I don't like them. But you put a maple glaze on something?
My movie theater has really good Brussels sprouts.
I had Brussels sprouts last night.
Wait. What? Your movie theater has Brussels sprouts?
You press a button in your seat, and then a man comes to you, and he says, "Oh, what would you like?" And then you say, "I would like the Brussels sprouts." And he says, "Yes, ma'am." And then he leaves, and he comes back with Brussels sprouts while you're watching a movie.
Going back to Le Cellier. Well, we were talking about inconsistency, but one of our readers, Pamela, said that she's never been disappointed going to Le Cellier, and that she also brings up the creme brulee is to die for. I am a huge dessert,
I love creme brulee,
sweets person, and I do love creme brulee. So if they have an awesome creme brulee, then that's another point towards Le Cellier, in my opinion.
I feel like we should go. Like, I feel like we need to go to because, like, if it's so inconsistent, and like the AllEars team hasn't been in a while, I think over a year. And so I've actually heard things about it improving in general overall from some of our readers, some of our friends. Like, so it's just, I don't know. It's so interesting that this is considered by a lot like the best meal, but then some people have had bad experiences there. Like, which I know that people are going to have bad experiences everywhere. But in this case, like, it's just so dramatic. I will say I have had some of the food from Le Cellier because at many of the Epcot festivals, the food served at the Canada Pavilion's booth is the food from Le Cellier, including that cheddar bacon cheese soup. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. It's so good that you're like, I'm going to eat this on a 98-degree day. I'm going to put hot cheese down my gullet on a 98-degree day. Right. I'm sweating on the outside. I will now be sweating on the inside. But
it's the only soup that you're allowed to eat in 100-degree weather.
I have to chime in and tell you why I don't find this to be a place other than the fact that it's a steakhouse, to be a destination for me anymore, because I remember the way things used to be when Le Cellier was a quick service restaurant, cafeteria style, where you could
in my day.
Purchase. That's right. But that's the way a lot of our viewers are too, Hannah. Be careful. Because we remember the way it used to be when they served a delicacy called maple syrup pie. And you didn't have to sit down and order a $60 steak just in order to get to it. You could walk up, grab one, put it on a tray, and check out. And eat your maple syrup pie and sit in Le Cellier.
What does maple syrup pie taste like?
Is it just maple syrup in a bowl?
It's in the realm of a pecan
in a
pie.
crust.
Okay. Oh. Did it have nuts?
It can have nuts.
Okay.
I don't remember if I don't think it had nuts. I think it was
I'm making maple syrup pie is what is going to come of us filming this episode.
Yeah,
this is exciting to me.
It should come back. Absolutely. At least for a festival. That would be such a fun
Oh my gosh, that'd
throwback.
Be so fun.
Fun
they
throwback
should do
to have.
Stuff for festivals. They should bring back like old dishes that people love.
Yeah. We should have a retro booth or a little bit of retro at maybe a year that, things are throwback. Like the chocolate cake is the chocolate cake still at Coral Reef? That thing was like early iconic Disney.
I think it is still there.
That was in recipe books for non-Disney related recipe books. I mean, that was like a well-known chocolate cake, and obviously tastes change.
They do.
And other chocolate cakes have come out that have been better. So now I think it doesn't rate as high in the spectrum of chocolate cakes, but it was iconic for a long time.
What I'm hearing is Le Cellier needs to, number one, bring back some older items, but they should definitely add like a little counter service window so that you can go up and get some stuff. Maybe not like a whole steak, but at least some of those items like the Brussels sprouts or the soup.
That's why lounges are like my jam. Oh my God. It's because lounges are like, they're basically that. It's like come, walk up, sit down in the lounge, order off the menu, get these favorites, but not be committed to a full meal, not be committed to the time commitment or the spending commitment. But Le Cellier is one of those that does not have a lounge. It just has kind of the accompanying festival booth that doesn't even always have the same stuff.
Coral Reef does still have the chocolate wave, which is a warm flourless chocolate cake with raspberry gelato.
Who knew that in a Best Meals episode you'd hit on Coral Reef?
Snuck it in.
While we are talking about Le Cellier, it is important to note that this is a very hard reservation to get. They book up very quickly. It's not one that you can just show up and guarantee the day of get a reservation. Like, this is very popular for good reason, because we just talked about all the good food. But just know that if you want to eat here, you're going to have to get ready 60 days in advance, wake up early, and make that dining reservation. All right, next restaurant on our list is located over at the Boardwalk, and that is Trattoria Al Forno. So this kind of surprises me that this is on this list, because it doesn't pop into my head right away when talking about the best meals in Disney World. But I do know that Quincy and Breedlove recently went for a review, so I'm eager to hear y'all's opinions. We got a lot of comments about the lasagna. First, Erin, she said lasagna from Trattoria Al Forno at the Boardwalk. Another reader, Tammy, agreed about the lasagna. The lasagna from Trattoria Al Forno was amazing earlier this week, and those are not the only 2 comments about the lasagna. So I feel like I need to go and eat this lasagna.
This whole episode is making me hungry.
I would go right now.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. So Bree Love and I did go to Trattoria recently, and what was interesting was there are some pockets in Disney World that are like secret AllEars viewers pockets, where when you're there, you're family.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the lasagna pockets.
No, they're like places where a lot of AllEars audiences. So like for instance,
physical
we talk
pockets.
about Nomad Lounge a lot. When I go to Nomad Lounge, I usually see a lot of AllEars fans. When I go to Satu'li Canteen, I can see a lot of AllEars fans. There are a few Steakhouse 71 Lounge, a lot of AllEars fans. It's like you run into more people there because they're listening to the tips that we share, that we really like those places. Brie Love and I had never been to Trattoria Al Forno. We don't rave about Trattoria Al Forno in the videos. But this was an AllEars fan pocket. Like when we were there, everybody outside the restaurant came up to us to say hi, which by the way, if you ever see us in the parks, please come up and say hi. We love talking to you guys. But everybody came up to say hi. Everyone was like, oh, are you going to Trattoria Al Forno? Us too. Like everyone was going to Trattoria. People were coming up to us and they were like, we literally came just because our waitress was so good last time that we want her again. Like you have to try this, this, and this. They're giving us plate recommendations. And like what's wild is that like we didn't have a reservation. Bree Love and I got on the walk-up wait list at 6 p.m. to go to Trattoria. Like we walked right in. Like we waited 10 minutes outside the restaurant and we had all these.
Do you want to share why?
No.
I think it's adorable.
We were supposed to go to Kumite for its reopening. And I maybe had the day of the week wrong. So Kumite was not open. So Bree Love and I had a backup date at Trattoria Al Forno. Which, if that ever happens to you, you probably won't do that because that was really silly. But if you ever can't get the reservation you want and you want to do table service or decide last minute you want to do table service, Trattoria, it's there for you. But we had an awesome meal. Frankly, like service is amazing in Disney World. It's a staple of Disney World. But I was blown away by the services at Trattoria. Like it was amazing service. Like they were so responsive to what we needed, especially it's complicated because we're filming everything. And as soon as like we kind of were like 30 minutes in the meal, we were like, I see why that couple was like, we're here just for the waitress that we love. Like their service was amazing. And the food was amazing too. Like the bruschetta. Oh, it was so good.
Unbelievable. And I would never have thought. We actually went because the reviews on AllEars.net were so glowing. We were like, what's going on over there? We better check this out. Something's happening at Trattoria Al Forno. It was blown away by how, I mean, specifically, as you mentioned, the Roma tomato bruschetta was...
Bree Love asked the chef, where do you get these tomatoes?
Tomatoes! It's like they were special tomato. They were like different tomatoes.
They were Disney tomatoes.
I thought they were the tomatoes grown by centrifugal force in Space 220.
Well,
or maybe they're from Living with the Land. They're Mickey's tomatoes.
We were like, listen, the tomatoes here taste like tomatoes should be a fruit. You know what I mean? Like that's what the tomatoes tasted like. They didn't taste like a vegetable. They tasted like the tomatoes were a fruit.
Yes, which lives up to their classification.
Yeah.
Right? Tomatoes are fruit, right?
Yeah, tomatoes are fruit.
Yeah, they are.
That's the point you're making. I just had to make it awkward. Got it.
I loved it. Now, I do know Fry Bucket has a bone to pick with this restaurant about an offering they used to have that they don't have anymore. Are you wearing a Tangled sweatshirt?
Possibly. Because I knew I'd be talking about Trattoria, and I cannot talk about Trattoria without bringing up the Bon Voyage breakfast that they had before the pandemic. This, oh my gosh, I could talk for hours on this, and I will.
I'm laughing because I know where she's going with this.
Hannah and I have had this conversation before, and yeah, we've talked about hopefully the day it returns, I will be there. We don't know if it'll ever return, but before the pandemic, they had the Bon Voyage character breakfast at Trattoria Al Forno. It is a character breakfast with Rapunzel, Ariel, Flynn Rider, and Prince Eric. Like, it doesn't get any better than that. It was, in my opinion, the best character breakfast ever. Yes, Hannah. Hannah gets it. Very good food. Just the fact that you were able to meet any boy characters, the princes, like that is so rare, and they had it all the time for this character breakfast. It was super fun. Characters that you don't normally get to interact with, like they come to your table multiple times. It had very good food. They had food themed to Tangled and The Little Mermaid. They were super cute. Like they called it the Tower of Pancakes. So there were these pancakes in powdered sugar with the flour on top. They had what was kind of like a calzone themed to Little Mermaid with like this spork in it that looked like King Trident's trident. You couldn't keep it, unfortunately. They had to take it back. But it was super fun, and I love this character breakfast.
They do still have breakfast at Trattoria, and people do still like rave about it. I believe they have a breakfast pizza. Yeah, the Sunrise breakfast pizza that is like, they have tiramisu bread pudding.
Yeah, that sounds okay. I don't like tiramisu, but I would eat that.
Heavy duty insiders are obsessed with the breakfast at this restaurant specifically.
It's served with bacon or sausage. Like, that's not a dessert. You get to eat that for your meal.
I know that you're trying to make a point that they still have breakfast foods, but the main reason that Fry loves that whole situation, she says that the food is really good, and I'm sure she had some of it, but that's not why she was there.
Listen, Breedlove and I will dress up like Flynn Rider and Prince Eric.
Absolutely.
And go to breakfast with you, Fry.
Please, will you? I would really appreciate that.
Do you
and
know
then
us?
Can you march around the dining room? Because they did that too.
Yeah, I'll march around the dining room.
I need someone to help me lift up my bed because my costume collection is all in storage under my bed.
I'll come over beforehand.
Who's going to be Prince Eric and who's going to be Flynn Rider?
I think it's Fry's choice, right?
Yeah, Fry's choice.
Oh, okay. That's going to be your new AllEars show. It's called Fry's Choice.
Fry's Choice.
I like it.
It's like a dating show, but the candidates are Breedlove and I dressed as Disney characters.
I actually love it. I think that would be great.
I do want to mention the fact that if you, for whatever reason, can't get into Trattoria Al Forno and you are hungry for their pizza, they do have a pizza window, but they also have seating. Like you can sit in Abracadabar, the magician themed bar next door, and actually order the margarita pizza off the menu, as well as the salumi, which is assorted meats and cheeses. Both of those are on the regular menu over at Trattoria Al Forno. They've got Abra fries. Their kitchen make Abra fries, which have Parmesan cheese, gremolata, and truffle cheese sauce, which you can't get.
Why are you yelling at me? Why are you yelling at me?
Honey, this is projection. Welcome to musical theater. What is he? Were you born yesterday? 5, 6, 7, 8. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Again.
The Abracadabar and Trattoria Al Forno are so close that when I couldn't find the Trattoria bathroom, I just went to the one I knew where it was in Abracadabar. I think Breedlove did too.
You know what? I think that's technically where they are. Like, you have to walk to the
bathrooms. They share those bathrooms.
Yep. They share the bathrooms.
I'm sorry I didn't. We talked about that, and then I said, "Are these the correct bathrooms to use for?" And they said, "Yeah, we share these bathrooms." So I think they probably.
On the way to the bathrooms, you get to look at a true reflection mirror because the bathrooms are in a magician-themed bar. That's amazing.
That's right.
Only at Disney World.
Only at Disney World.
Only at Trattoria Al Forno.
Only at Trattoria Al Forno. So though Trattoria Al Forno is kind of like a cult favorite for AllEars readers, there are 2, I would say, other Italian restaurants, maybe 3 that people rave about in Disney World. There's Via Napoli in Epcot, where they have like a quarter meter pizza or a half meter pizza, but it's called Quattro Formaggi. It's a big pizza, really big, at a good deal. And that's an amazing pizza at Via Napoli. Il Molino is the Italian restaurant in the Swan and Dolphin hotels, and it is widely considered very good, an excellent date night spot. And then Topolino's Terrace, the rooftop restaurant at Riviera Resort, has amazing food, breakfast, and dinner. You can usually get into the lounge, fireworks views from up there, and they do have a character breakfast that has like Mickey, Minnie, Donald, Daisy, the whole shebang. So that's another great one too. But all of those are hard to get into compared to Trattoria, where you can just walk in.
We've got to talk about theming, immersion, and I don't mean underwater. We need to talk about living inside a story, and not a story created yesterday. We're talking a story that goes way, way back in Disney history. We're talking about Skipper Canteen in Adventureland in Magic Kingdom. Now, this place is tied to, yes, the story of Jungle Cruise, but you've also got the Adventurers Club that used to be at Pleasure Island, and you've even got ties to the Dreamfinder in Journey into Imagination, the original Journey into Imagination. So this is a place.
This place is pretty cool
for people who like adventure.
Yeah.
This is a place for people who like immersive theming, and this is a place for people who like comedy with their peas. If you
I
know
love
what
a side
mean.
of comedy with my peas.
Yes, right. Just put it on top like a little slab of butter.
Yeah, ooh,
Plant-based
melty
butter.
comedy.
This place is great, and as a plant-based eater, I have to say they have consistently been really great about having entrees on the menu and appetizers for plant-based eaters. They opened ready to go. They were like, we're on board with this, and, you know, no questions asked. And there's amazing magical touches like, you know, hidden rooms, a book you pull and a door opens, and just unbelievable level of detail. A level of detail you don't usually find in a restaurant, I would say. Sometimes you'll have like a single room like Be Our Guest, like the West Wing, which is like incredibly immersive, and then everything else feels almost like a cafeteria. So every single room is so elaborately detailed, and the storyline is so fleshed out. It's just, it's really incredible. And I've got to say, for those of you who enjoy an alcoholic beverage, this used to be a dry park, Magic Kingdom, because Disneyland, Walt wanted to be a dry park. It was for families. It wasn't about cocktails. It was about hanging out with your kids. And now people understand that people actually need alcohol to hang out with their kids. And that's what's so wonderful is that Magic Kingdom has started expanding for those parents who need an adult cocktail beverage to get through their day.
With
you can
the
find
Rocks
it at
Tequila.
Skipper Canteen. That's right.
I've had it.
You can get it at Skipper Canteen, which is new.
Not that Disney World is like as old as Disneyland, but I'm also imagining like back when Disney World was open, the drinking culture was much more heavy on the cocktails as opposed to just like having like a light beer nowadays.
Yeah, people were tanked at noon. I mean, they were done.
That's definitely exciting because Skipper Canteen, I believe, is the only place you can get cocktails in Magic Kingdom. Everywhere else, you can get beer and wine at a lot of table service restaurants, but that's it, and nothing outside of table service restaurants. I'll say, you mentioned Be Our Guest, like as a fair comparison for this, which I think is good because Be Our Guest is often considered, or for a long time was considered, you know, the best restaurant in Magic Kingdom. And as we found with our visit lately, that it was not quite that. Food-wise and with the price, the experience is just a little lackluster. It's priced like a character meal, and all you see is the beast walk by. The comments on our video reviewing Be Our Guest, I would say maybe 25% of them mentioned Skipper Canteen. Like the comments were like, yeah, you're right. Be Our Guest is lackluster. I'd much rather go to Skipper Canteen. Skipper Canteen is where it's at. If you want a really good themed meal, go to Skipper Canteen. And I fully agree. I don't love the food in Magic Kingdom in general. If I'm going to eat a table service meal in Magic Kingdom voluntarily, it's going to be Skipper Canteen. So Susan said that surprisingly the seafood stew was her favorite. And Susan, I went, right? And I didn't know what I wanted on the menu. So I told the waitress just to surprise me. I said, surprise me with whatever. And she brought me the seafood stew. And I looked down at it and I saw tentacles. And I was like, wow, they surprised me. Because Skipper Canteen is a spot that's for more adventurous eaters. I'll say that. There's some familiar favorites on the menu, but it's really geared towards the more adventurous folks. That seafood stew was so good. I ate tentacles and I liked it. Thanks, Skipper Canteen.
I like that that's there though, because you might have some people that are like, that do like to try different foods, and they might love going to Epcot, and especially during a festival, to try different things. And then you get to Magic Kingdom and it's kind of like, womp womp. And so having that option there is really good for those people who, one of the highlights of going to Disney is eating.
Breedlove, to your point, Jessica says, I was really surprised by how good Skipper Canteen is. And I think that she's a meat eater based on her language here. Even more surprising is that it is their tofu dish that tops my list as best thing I've ever eaten in Disney. Who knew? Wow. So,
and unfortunately, that tofu dish is off the menu. I hate to say it. Perkins noodles, which was my favorite thing. It was a pad thai with tofu with fried tofu on top is not on the menu. I don't know if it's something that you can ask for. It may be so iconic at this point that they took it off the menu because maybe too many people were ordering it. That's what everyone that I ever spoke to, like plant-based, even non-plant-based. Yeah, people were ordering it even with chicken and stuff. Like you could order other proteins on it, shrimp, but it's not currently on the menu. So I don't know. This is definitely something to ask about when you're there, but certainly they still have the curried vegetable crew stew, which also sounds very good. I just love the fact that there were 2 entrees and an appetizer for plant-based eaters when it first opened. But this is something we should check out. We should check this out.
We should check this out. That's a good idea.
We have to see. Yeah. We have to tell the people.
I also do love the theming. My favorite elements are that in the secret room behind the bookcase, there is a booth that is the butterfly booth that has a butterfly collection on the walls. That is Lillian Disney's butterfly collection, which is very cool. And then there's one of the rooms. There's three rooms. There's the secret room, the secret SEA meeting room. There's the dining hall where the skippers are supposed to eat. And then there's the Falls family room, which is like kind of like a living area. It's where, they would dine in the story. And in the Falls family room, there are these chandeliers or like lamps that are Tiffany chandeliers that have parrots. They're like parrots they're very pretty. They look like stained glass. And when we were there, my dad was like, I like those chandeliers. Fast forward like 4 years, my parents bought a new house. My dad bought a Tiffany parrot chandelier to put in his bar.
That's why they look familiar.
Yes, because they're in my house. They're my parents' house. And the chandelier, the bar is called the 3 parrots, the 6 parrots. It's however many parrots are on the chandelier.
It's got parrots in it.
Yeah, that's the name of the bar because we went to Skipper Canteen and we liked the Tiffany parrot chandeliers. So
that's the height of luxury. That is like making it.
All right, and finally, one that I'm passionate about, the restaurant that got the most mentions from our readers, none other than California Grill at Disney's Contemporary Resort. Now, on AllEars, this restaurant has an 8.96 rating out of 10. Which, by the way, you can rate these restaurants on AllEars, which really helps out your fellow Disney goer. It helps us out. So please go rate. If you have any experience. If you have an experience in Disney World, go tell us about it.
Anything. There's literally, you can review Lost and Found.
You can review Lost and Found. I should do that. I've had some Lost and Found experiences. So for a long time, California Grill was, kind of your standard signature restaurant where you ordered a la carte. Your different courses. In the past, since Disney World's 50th anniversary, it has had a 50th menu that is prix and has, you get your appetizer, your entree, your dessert. This has been controversial, but I think the people who have had it really enjoyed it. Breedlove, I know you've had the plant-based 50th.
Oh, yeah. My favorite meal I've had in Disney World. It's It was unbelievable. It was better than any of the fine dining that you and I have done together. I would really love to go with you and have that be verified and just make sure. But truly, it the care and they cared so much. It was like art, and it also tasted better than anything. And it was more laid back. It was a little more casual. And yet I was looking at Magic Kingdom. So
yeah, and often the fireworks from Magic Kingdom, you get views from your table, and even if it's not from your table, you can watch them from the fireworks terrace that is up there. You do not have to be actively dining at the restaurant to watch fireworks. If you had either seating at the first come first served bar, which is incredibly limited, but it is available, or a reservation at any time during the night, you can either go up with your reservation or bring your receipt from the bar when it is time for fireworks and watch the fireworks from the patio. You do not have to actively be dining, which I think is just an amazing touch. Like that's really cool that you don't have to stress out getting that fireworks time reservation. Although I do recommend it, because eating dessert from California Grill while looking out the window at the fireworks in the sky this is my family's go-to. We're having one nice meal this trip. What's it going to be? It's going to be California Grill. We always went to it. That was before the 50th anniversary menu, but I'll say it's more than just Breed Love raving about that. Nathan said that California has a 50th anniversary menu now that is the best meal we have had anywhere. Braised beef short rib wonton appetizer is delicious. And then also Debbie says that the 50th anniversary special offer at California Grill was one of the best meals she has ever had. Now, it's not cheap. It's $89 for adults and $39 for kids. And
cheaper
I know
than some of the meals we've eaten.
It's true. It's definitely cheaper
Way
than
cheaper.
Yeah, Breed Love and I have had meals that were hundreds of dollars per person, legitimately. Compared to some of the other things on this list, this is the most expensive, but I think there is a point where the value for money is there. And it's kind of like the reason I dislike Be Our Guest so much is because it is so expensive. If I had that meal for $50, I would feel better about it. I like California Grill with those prices because I think it's worth it. So, I mean,
so a lot of the reasons why
use...
people said that they love this restaurant is specifically because of the 50th anniversary menu. And because the 50th is going to be ending this spring, I'm wondering what sort of menu they're going to have. Is it going to be their old menu coming back? Are there any items on the old menu that you really enjoyed?
The goat cheese ravioli is what
and the goat cheese ravioli actually, that comes from a restaurant in California called Lark Creek Inn, which some of the chefs came and opened California Grill originally, which is why it's called California Grill. And that was on the menu there. And that I grew up 3 blocks from it in Larkspur, California. So yes, I hope it's there, but I also am like, I think you could move on and do your own thing, California Grill.
Careful there, Breed Love. A lot of goat cheese ravioli fans are going to come after you.
That's fine. I'm pretty sure.
My mom is one of them.
Okay, I understand. I do.
Watch out for Quincy's mom.
And yes, I grew up. It was better. It was so much better in Lark Creek. I mean, I had it here. I broke my veganism for one meal to have it because the nostalgia was so strong. I was desperate to have this taste of my childhood, and it's not as good. I have to say it was like it was like angels made it before. I mean, it was like it came from heaven. It was a perfect.
You sat down.
It was perfect.
And the heavens opened up, and you just heard
light shone down from heaven, and yes. But I think it would be great if they integrated that dish into a prefix menu that was offered in the future, because it appears that limiting the menu, focusing the menu to specific items has raised the quality of the...
I wouldn't necessarily say that, because again, I have only been to California Grill before it was a prefix, and all of these things were true about California Grill before it was a prefix. So I would be fine with them sticking to a prefix. I do like I don't eat that much, it's hard for me to get through an entire prefix meal. So that's why I haven't been back, is because like that's just not something that I choose to do, because I don't always need I can't always get through an appetizer, entree, and dessert in a meal. And so it's a little bit difficult for me to justify doing the prefix at California Grill. So I'm on the fence because I like the prefix, and I think that them focusing like their offerings probably helps them to really like make the offerings they have great. But California Grill used to have a relatively seasonal menu, and that meant that every time I went back there was something there to try, which I understand is not the reality for a lot of people too. But I think that I could go either way on when the 50th ends, whether they remain a prefix or go back to being an a la carte menu. I think it would be really cool if they had both options.
That puts a lot of stress on the kitchen, and I'm really convinced that this is helping. This is like their time to really shine. I'm saying it's elevated now to the status of a Victoria and Albert's. You're getting fine dining in a way that never happened before. And of course, I'm coming from the plant-based perspective, where on the normal menu, the dessert offering was a blueberry donut. And now I have this incredible peanut and banana and caramel dessert item that is just... Get ready.
Oh, you're doing that thing again that you said you'd never done.
Yeah, I can't. What am I going to do?
Twice this episode. Rapid fire, real quick. Best meal you have ever had in Disney World. Fry bucket.
Ooh, I think I'm going to say Topolino's Terrace for dinner. I had that recently. It was very good pasta. Fireworks outside the window. Overall experience, very good. Topolino's.
Hannah?
I love the steak, mashed potatoes, and fried onions at Raglan Road in Disney Springs.
Nice. Breedlove, best meal ever?
Definitely 50th menu at California Grill.
For me, non-50th menu at California Grill, but I haven't had the 50th menu. Also not plant-based, shockingly.
Want more info for your next trip? Do a search on AllEars.net for anything Disney or Universal and get results that will blow you away. Be sure to like and subscribe, and most important, join the All Ears community by following us on social media at AllEars.net. Have some thoughts the cast missed? Let us know down in the comments. This is Chris for AllEars.net. See you next time.